Picture this. The year is 1250 BC. Thebes has just surpassed 80,000 people, the greatest city along the Nile. Pharaoh Ramesses II rules an empire stretching from Nubia to Syria. But what was it actually like to spend a single day here? Not as a pharaoh or a high priest, but as an ordinary person navigating the world's most ancient civilization at its peak. Using AI technology trained on archaeological evidence and historical records, we've reconstructed what 24 hours in ancient Egypt actually looked like. No highlights reel, no just the pyramids. We're talking about the real Egypt, the heat, the river, the gods everywhere, the hierarchy. From sunrise to sunset, this is what life was actually like in ancient Egypt. Let's step back 3,000 years. Dawn. The sun god Ra is rising over the eastern desert, and Egypt wakes with him. You're in a mud brick house in a worker's quarter near the Temple of Karnak. This is Thebes, capital of the New Kingdom. Maybe 80,000 people living along both banks of the Nile. Your house has 3 rooms. That's actually pretty good. The walls are thick mud brick, plastered white on the inside to reflect heat. Small windows near the ceiling let in light but keep out the worst of the sun. You sleep on a raised platform with a wooden headrest. No pillow. Egyptians believed soft pillows attracted scorpions. You've got a linen sheet woven so fine you can see through it. That linen is worth more than most people earn in a month. The house is already hot. It's always hot. Summer temperatures hit 110 degrees regularly. You can hear the neighborhood stirring. Someone's grinding grain, a donkey braying, children already playing in the narrow street outside. You splash water on your face from a clay jar. This water came from the Nile, carried here yesterday by your wife. Every drop of water in Egypt comes from the river. No Nile, no Egypt. It's that simple. Morning, first task, bread. If you're a woman, you're making it. If you're a man, your wife or daughter is. Either way, bread is what Egypt runs on. You take barley from a storage jar, pour it onto a flat stone, and grind it with a smaller stone. This takes forever. Your arms ache. The flour is gritty, full of sand and stone particles. That's why most Egyptians over 30 have teeth worn down to stumps. You mix the flour with water and a bit of old dough for leavening. Shape it into flat rounds. Bake it in a clay oven in the courtyard. The oven is already blazing. Your daughter fed it dry dung earlier. Yes, dung. Wood is rare in Egypt. Palm fronds, papyrus reeds, animal dung, that's what you burn. While the bread bakes, you eat yesterday's leftovers. Onions, cucumbers, maybe some dried fish. Beer for breakfast. Everyone drinks beer. The water from the Nile needs to be boiled or fermented to be safe. Beer is easier. Egyptian beer is thick, nutritious, slightly sweet. Children drink it. Workers get it as part of their wages. Even the gods receive beer as offerings. Mid-morning work. By the time Ra is fully above the horizon, you're heading to work. Let's say you're a stonemason working on an addition to the Temple of Karnak. This temple complex is already massive, covering over 200 acres. Ramesses II keeps adding to it. Every pharaoh does. Building temples proves you're favored by the gods. You walk through streets barely wide enough for 2 people to pass. Houses are crammed together, sharing walls. No city planning here. Buildings just grew organically over centuries. The streets aren't paved, just packed dirt, covered in a thin layer of sand that blows in constantly from the desert. You pass a shrine to Taweret, goddess of childbirth. Someone left fresh flowers this morning. You pass a scribe sitting cross-legged outside a house, writing a letter for someone who can't write. Most Egyptians can't read or write. Scribes are the educated elite. At the temple construction site, it's already chaos. Hundreds of workers, most of them farmers, fulfilling their labor obligation to the pharaoh. Egypt doesn't have slavery the way Rome did. Instead, every able-bodied man owes the pharaoh a certain amount of work each year. Some pull stones, some cut them. You're shaping a column that will stand 60 feet tall when finished. The tools are copper and bronze. Iron exists, but it's rare and expensive. You work with wooden mallets and copper chisels, slowly, carefully shaping limestone that was quarried upstream and floated here on barges during the flood season. The foreman walks past. He's carrying a stick. He uses it liberally on anyone who slacks off. Overseers record everything. How many stones moved? How many columns finished? How much beer distributed? Egypt runs on bureaucracy. Everything is measured, recorded, taxed. Midday, the heat. By noon, work stops. It's too hot. Even the foreman retreats to shade. You find a spot under a palm tree near the temple wall. Other workers gather there too. Someone shares bread. Someone else has onions. You've got your beer ration, thick and warm. The conversation turns to the Nile. It's late summer and the flood should arrive any day now. Every year, like clockwork, the river rises. Water spreads across the floodplain, depositing rich black silt. That silt is why Egypt exists. Without the annual flood, the desert would swallow everything. Farmers are nervous this year. The flood last year was low. If it's low again, there won't be enough grain. If there's not enough grain, people starve. The pharaoh keeps grain reserves for exactly this reason, but still, everyone watches the river. Someone mentioned seeing a crocodile near the docks yesterday. Big one, maybe 15 feet long. Crocodiles are sacred to Sobek, but they're also terrifying. Every year, people get taken by crocodiles. Hippos too. The Nile gives life, but it also takes it. Afternoon, the market. After the midday break, you don't return to the temple. You've got an errand. Your wife needs oil and you need to trade for it. You head to the market near the river. Egypt doesn't use money. Not coins anyway. Everything is barter, but it's complicated barter. Values are calculated in debin, a unit of weight in copper. A goat might be worth 2 debin. A jar of oil, half a debin, but you don't actually exchange copper. You exchange goods of equivalent value. You've brought a basket of dates from the palm tree in your courtyard. The oil merchant examines them, calculates their value, and hands over a small ceramic jar of sesame oil. Deal done. The market is packed. Vendors selling fish from the Nile, vegetables from gardens, pottery, linen, amulets, everything. You see a Syrian merchant with cedar wood. That wood came hundreds of miles, probably by ship. Egypt has almost no trees suitable for building. Everything comes from Lebanon. You see a Nubian trader with gold, dust, and ivory. Nubia to the south is where Egypt gets its gold. The empire controls Nubian mines, and that gold flows north to Thebes, to the pharaoh's treasury, to the temples. A woman is selling amulets, Eye of Horus for protection, Ankh for life, scarabs for rebirth. Everyone wears amulets. The gods are everywhere and everything. You don't just worship them on festival days. You carry them with you literally. Late afternoon, the river. You've got time before dinner, so you walk to the Nile. The river is everything. Highway, water source, food supply, God. Yes, God, the Nile itself is divine. Its flood is the tears of Isis. Its fertility is the gift of Happy, God of the inundation. The riverbank is crowded. Women washing clothes, children swimming despite the crocodiles, fishermen checking nets, boats everywhere, small reed boats for fishing, larger wooden boats for cargo, massive barges carrying stone for the temples. You watch a boat unload grain from upstream. The grain gets carried to warehouses, measured, recorded. Some will go to the temples as offerings. Some will be distributed as wages. Some will be stored against future famines. Everything in Egypt is about the river. The desert starts just a few miles away in every direction. Walk west, you hit sand. Walk east, more sand. The Nile Valley is a green ribbon through an ocean of nothing. Egyptians call their country Kemet, the Black Land, because of that rich black silt. Everything beyond the floodplain is Deseret, the Red Land. The desert, the place of chaos and death. Evening, home. As Ra begins his journey into the underworld, you head home. Your wife has dinner ready. More bread, some lentil stew, beer. If you're lucky, maybe some fish. Meat is rare unless there's a festival. You eat sitting on the floor. No furniture except those sleeping platforms and maybe a stool or two. The houses are simple but comfortable. The thick walls keep out the worst heat. The flat roof is where you'll sleep tonight. Everyone sleeps on the roof in summer. It's cooler and you can catch any breeze. Your children are playing a game with sticks and a ball made of papyrus. Your wife is spinning flax into thread. This thread will become linen. She'll weave it herself. Every household produces its own cloth. As darkness falls, you light an oil lamp, just a small clay bowl with oil and a wick. It gives barely enough light to see by, but oil is expensive. You don't waste it. The neighborhood quiets. You can hear the Nile lapping at the banks a few streets away. Someone is singing. Someone else is arguing. A baby crying. Egypt after dark is quieter than Rome, but it's not silent. You climb the stairs to the roof. The stars are incredible. The sky is so clear here, away from moisture and pollution. Egyptians know the stars intimately. They use them for navigation, for calendars, for religion. The soul of Osiris is up there. So is the boat of Ra, traveling through the underworld, fighting the serpent Apophis, preparing to be reborn at dawn. So that was 24 hours in ancient Egypt. Not the golden masks and pyramid mysteries, the real Egypt. Hot, hierarchical, deeply religious, completely dependent on a single river. 80,000 people in Thebes alone, all of them connected to the Nile, to the pharaoh, to the gods. Egypt invented civilization on a scale that wouldn't be matched for centuries. And yeah, they had problems. Rigid social classes, brutal labor demands, a religion that dominated every aspect of life. But they also figured out how to thrive in a desert, how to predict the Nile's flood, how to build monuments that would last millennia, how to create art and literature and mathematics that still influences us today. 3,000 years later, we're still fascinated by what they built. Thanks for watching Time Warp Cities. Creating these reconstructions takes enormous research and time. If you want to see more ancient civilizations brought back to life, hit subscribe and drop a comment. What city should we reconstruct next?